many in this nation are asking, what should Black Lives Matter do? And in which direction should they go? The shooter in Dallas, Michael Johnson, is reported that he was angry with Black Lives Matter. And I understand why he probably felt that way, because he was of a real radical extreme mindset, and he's wondering why they are not at that same mindset that he
You're
is
not giving this
and
guy,
really should not be.
You're not forgiving this guy, are you?
That's not what I'm doing. But also what I am doing, I understand the conditions in America that produced a mindset like that. Injustice on a consistent basis breeds insanity. And that's what's happening in America with black people.
You know what's happening?
Shootings.
You know what's happening, Quanell? There are black and white people that would like nothing more than for us to stay fighting, because they somehow achieve a bit more money or a bit more prosperity or a level that they like. But they've got to make sure that white people and black people or any race are fighting each other, and they're all jazzed up over something. Those people succeed. And that ain't me, and I certainly hope it isn't you either, Quanell, although I'm not so sure.
This nation, Matt, is at a crossroads. If we want to prevent another Michael Johnson, and I sit here with you for 6 years, and I warned you right from this seat that a Michael Johnson would be produced in America if injustice and police killings were not held accountable, these cops. And I'm warning you right now, brother. I'm telling you can take it or let it alone, and you don't have to listen, and this audience doesn't have to listen. But if they don't change, the next move, terrorist organizations from outside of America are going to try to connect with black people who are angry, disgruntled, and frustrated, and use them as an inside sale to strike America. That's what's coming.
His first stop was to an organization like yours, and, the new Black Panthers. He thought maybe that would be the place to go. Can you imagine that in this guy's mind, he looked at you as someone who could use to go after people like me?
I put the brother out.
I know you did.
Because I had no choice but to do so for the safety and security of the other members because of the brother's rhetoric. But at the end of the day, I understand what has produced that kind of mindset in many young black men. Don't you dare think.
That's a dangerous thing for you to say, Quanell.
Don't you dare think that Michael Johnson was the only one thinking like that in America. He is not. There are other black people in America across this country who think just like that,
let me tell you something, Quanell. There's all different races and breeds of people that unfortunately are thinking that way because there's a fire lit under them by individuals that are smiling from ear to ear, hoping something like that does happen. I'll tell you who wants to see it is Hillary Clinton.
Man, ask yourself the question. If black cops were in white neighborhoods executing young white boys like they do black men, and they were never held accountable, what would you white people do?
Let me tell you something.
You would go to war. You would go to war.
44% more police officers just now in 2016 have been killed trying to do their job than all of last year.
But Matt, we have been fighting police brutality really publicly since the 50s.
You don't shoot them. You don't shoot them, Quanell.
Nothing's changed.
You don't shoot them.
I agree with that. And they should not be killed or targeted. But Matt, that 1% that they say is bad among them, that 99% better get off their ass and tell the truth and get rid of the 1% that's doing these things.
Well, you do the same thing.
Matt, we have been trying. Let me tell you something. If these racists on these police departments don't get off their ass and deal with the bad element, I'm telling you, there's going to be more Dallases in America.
Then you and I get together and we'll stand up and we'll help them get them off their ass. Let's do that.
I have no problem with that. But the chief and district attorneys got to be held accountable to hold everybody to the same standard when they commit a crime, cops and citizens.
Black Lives Matter, a phrase that sparked global attention, protests, and debate. But as powerful as it is, not everyone supports it. In fact, many white people openly reject the movement. Today, we'll break down why. The history, psychology, and social factors behind this opposition. Watch and pay attention, and I will share my thought later.
We evict all of these illegal aliens that are coming here and stealing jobs from Americans. If you break into my house, should I just accept you because you washed my dishes and made my beds? I say no. I say you need to go back and come back in the right way.
So is that what the Indians should have told white Americans? The original illegal alien or European white folk in America?
Agreed.
And so should the Indians stand up today and say deport all white folks back to Europe?
Well, should we learn something from their mistake? Because we are here now.
Or should you learn something from their compassion to give other people an opportunity like was given to you and your ancestors. Learn from their compassion. That's what you should learn from.
I say learn from their mistakes.
Letting in the white man was the worst mistake that the Indians ever could have made. I agree with you. That was one of the greatest mistakes. Even right there in South Africa, they got a similar problem.
So the bill has hit Governor Abbott's desk and has been signed by Governor Abbott. Basically, the anti-sanctuary city bill has been passed and is now law. And what that bill says is that if local law enforcement or state police view a criminal activity afoot, they make a stop on that state crime, and then they can inquire into the status of an individual's residence. Are they a lawful U.S. citizen? Are they here with a green card? Are they a permanent resident alien? Or are they here illegally without documentation? And if they are here illegally without that documentation, then the feds can get involved and then they can take it from there. I think this is a fantastic law. It is time to start enforcing the laws that are on the books instead of the state and local officials legislating from their own little tiny offices.
It's an awful law because it's nothing more than a legal way for law enforcement to racially profile Mexicans and Hispanics. This law was written into existence by Governor Abbott to specifically go after a said group of demographics here in the state of Texas. Secondly, it is awful that we want to call them illegal immigrants to the point to where if a cop does not do his job according to this law, he can be charged and arrested, and the cities can be given a $25,000 fine per day. Well, we'll put a cop in jail for not asking about his immigrant status, but we won't put cops in jail for shooting and killing unarmed black people.
That's not true, and
Thirdly,
that's way too far of a step. Murder is against the law.
Yeah, but it's not against the law when you kill black people and you're a cop. See, the problem in America and this state is...
What about the Dallas case where that cop was just charged
because there
with
was
murder?
Video to show he was absolutely lying.
So you can't make these broad statements. It's just
because
simply not true.
often there's video, ma'am, where we are killed by cops and nobody ever goes to jail. Ask Eric Garner's family that. Ask the family right there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Brother Alton Sterling's family.
But your
they're not
statement
getting
is not
justice. So
correct,
video don't mean nothing for us.
Your
But let's get
statement's
back
not
to the
correct.
immigrants. I would say to the Hispanic and Mexican community, what you got to do now, hook up with the black community and unite in political power, because if Mexicans and black people unite in Texas, we can control the governor, we can control the lieutenant governor, and we can control politics in Texas, period. I'm saying to Latino brothers and sisters, don't fight them by yourself. If you hook up with black people and we unite, I'm telling you, we can run Texas and then pass laws to deal with those who hate us.
You're advocating for criminal activity, Cornell. These people are not here lawfully. They need to do what our ancestors did, what many Mexicans have done.
No, wait a minute.
Don't interrupt me.
Your ancestors came here illegally. Wasn't nothing legal about your ancestors.
Listen.
They came illegally and they murdered, they raped, they pillaged a whole race of people. This country, Texas, Arizona, California, belongs to the Mexicans.
Cornell, get back
it was
to the
stole from them.
You tell me to get back to the point.
They came here
No,
illegally.
you're not being fair to me here. You say stay on topic. I say, okay, we'll stay on topic. And then as soon as we start talking about illegal immigration,
ancestors.
you go back to the black issue. Let's stay on topic.
Your ancestors are the master illegal immigrants.
Give me the opportunity to respond in that, you know what, we're all Americans here. And if you are here legally, absolutely, then we need to come together and we need to pass good laws for enforcing the law.
Well, perhaps the Native Americans should have passed laws against your ancestors. Matt, many parents and teachers and administrators of public school systems and private schools here in Texas are asking the question why a lot of attention is being paid to Texas leading the nation in teacher-student sexual relationships. You have more teachers that have been arrested and indicted here in Texas than anywhere else in the nation having sexual relations with students. And Matt, I want to say this. When I was growing up, Matt, you didn't see students, in particular young girls, dressing, going to school like you see now. Mothers, parents, and grandparents, and even the women of the community would not allow students to go to school dressing like that. But also, some of these teachers are dressing worse and no better than the kids. And some of these teachers are almost just a few years older than the kids. And I think that's leading to these inappropriate relationships.
And you know, it's unfortunate because they're a minority of great teachers and in Houston schools, in Texas schools, because I know a lot of them because my son Jake is in 6th grade. So have I seen some bad ones? Yeah, I've seen some bad ones. When I was a young man, I went to an all-boys high school. Do you think that stopped things from happening inside the school even back in the 70s? Yeah, I mean, that still went on. And nowadays, we find out about it. You know, you got the videotapes, you got all of the, you know, the iPhones in class. Look, the problem is that we've got to look at who is becoming a teacher and really do a very good look at who they are, where they're from, and what they've done in the past.
I think what we could do to help the problem, one, raise the age requirement of teachers that are allowed to teach high school and junior high school students.
What age?
You should not have 25 and 26-year-old teachers teaching teenage students in junior high or high school. That's too close in age. Secondly, let's raise the pay scale that we pay teachers, because right now we're not paying them anything, and these school districts are taking whatever they can get.
Right.
Raise that pay scale, you get a more quality employee because you've raised that pay scale to where everybody's applying who wants to make more money.
That's why many of
we got to raise the pay scale.
Yeah, many of these stories you see in public schools, and you're exactly right. Teachers that are at private schools get paid what the private school wants to pay a particular teacher that they want to have in a particular class. If public schools would do something like that, and we have to vote that way.
But Matt, we also have to implement a dress code for teachers, because like we have one for students, you got to have one for teachers. You have teachers that are going to school teaching our kids like they're going to a nightclub. This is real. Did you see a teacher in Atlanta?
I've seen many pictures of teachers.
Did you see the one in Atlanta?
I saw the one that you showed me. Yes,
and what did you think?
Well, I thought to myself, I was glad I went to an all-boys school where most of my teachers were men.
Yeah, whatever.
Because if I'd seen
when I saw that teacher in Atlanta, I knew right then if my son was in a classroom, I would never miss a parent-teacher conference.
Good grief.
You wouldn't either.
The Texas legislature came out recently with an enhanced punishment for teachers who have an inappropriate relationship with their students. Now, we send our students to school and we assume that they're safe and that they're being cared for by people who have their best moral interests at heart. But unfortunately, there are some sickos, quite frankly, out there, both men and women. Predominantly women here recently is what's making the news, that do have inappropriate relationships with their students. So the Texas legislature took it upon themselves to go ahead and enhance the punishment if found guilty. Now, the most interesting punishment here is that these teachers can lose their pension. They can lose their retirement. So already a crime for a teacher or any adult to have a sexual relationship with a child. That's a crime. What the state has done is take it one step further and is hitting them in the pocketbooks to be more of a deterrent from engaging in this sort of disgusting behavior.
Also, it says principals and superintendents can be charged with a felony for failure to report it if they know about it. And many teachers on many campuses have been aware and have known about inappropriate relationships and may or may not report it to the administration, but don't go any further than that. And then some school districts and some schools would like to sweep it under the rug to protect the credibility and name of the institution of that school. I believe it's sad, especially when you have grown men manipulating and exploiting the immaturity of young girls to have a sexual relationship with them and take advantage of them. Many of these young boys are getting involved with female teachers. In fact, Texas leads the nation in teacher-student relationships that are inappropriate. And it's sad, but I wonder what is wrong with the mindset in particular of women who will get involved with these young boys who are just young and dumb boys. What would make a male teacher or a female teacher think that if you have sex with a young student, especially a female with a young boy, he's not going to tell all his homeboys, he's not going to tell all of his friends? It's a badge of honor for a young teenage boy to have sex with an older woman, in particular authoritarian figure like a teacher. First thing he's going to do is tell all of his buddies what he just did, and then you will lose your career, lose your pension, lose your good name, and get locked up. And some of these teachers have been married that are doing this.
It's disgusting, and I applaud the Texas legislature for taking it one step further. But let's remember that the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt before there can be a conviction.
Well, often they don't bring charges unless they have text messages that show or some electronic communication or pictures or some sort of videos.
Witness testimony is good enough. Harris County DA's office will take any charge with a witness.
And that's the problem. Too many innocent people have been convicted on lying and faulty witnesses. They should have more than that to convict somebody and destroy their name.
The first reason is simple. Many people misunderstand the message. Black Lives Matter never meant only Black Lives Matter. It means Black Lives Matter too, equally in a system that has devalued them for centuries. But some white people heard it as exclusionary or anti-white instead of a cry for justice. That misunderstanding turned into resentment, especially when slogans like All Lives Matter appeared. which intentionally or not shifted focus away from the real issue, racial inequality and police brutality. The second reason is discomfort. The Black Lives Matter movement forces society, particularly white society, to confront uncomfortable truths about race, privilege, and systemic injustice. For some, acknowledging racism felt like admitting guilt or losing social power, so instead of engaging, they denied the problem or attacked the movement. It is easier to say racism does not exist anymore than to ask, how have I benefited from a racist system? The third reason, media framing and politics. Some media outlets painted Black Lives Matter as a violent, anti-police, or even terrorist. This created fear and confusion, especially among white viewers who did not experience the movement firsthand. Politicians also weaponized their fear, using BLM as a political tool to divide Americans along racial and ideological lines. So, what started as a human rights movement became a political target. Another deeper reason, fear of equality. True equality means changing the system, and change often feels like loss to those who benefit from the status quo. When black voices rise, some white people feel their dominance threatened. But equality is not oppression, it is balance. And that is the real goal of Black Lives Matter: balance, justice, and dignity for all. So why do some white people dislike the Black Lives Matter movement? Because it challenges comfort, exposes privilege, and demands accountability. But progress has never come without discomfort. The truth is, when Black lives truly matter, all lives will finally matter. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.